Hey girls! Look at this, we have a new background. I love the pink flowers and heart. Made it a bit girly. Today we're gonna talk about something that I think many people are struggling with. At least I'm struggling with it, to not get distracted with the phone. So we're gonna talk about that and how to overcome that. Let's go. Saying like my husband, he's saying let's go all the times and I'm also doing that. So keeping the home is much more than staying at home. It is having a heart that is fixed at the home. And as moms in general, but maybe especially at stay-at-home moms, we can fool ourselves, I think, with thinking that, oh, we are at home with our kids. But in reality, are we there with our mind, or are we being distracted and is our attention somewhere else on things that we need to do, or on the phone, internet, video, social media, and we are actually missing out on what is most important. As C.S. Lewis said, children are not a distraction from the most important work. They are the most important work. And as mothers, it's like easy to feel worn out and have the feeling of, oh, I just need some me time to be able to cope with everything, and we want to put maybe our heads in the sand for a little while and escape reality a bit. And that's, I think, when we turn to the phone, because we think that that can give a small sense of peace of mind for a little bit, but we are tricked. It doesn't work like that. It might like push forward the things that you need to deal with for a little, but it doesn't actually give you any energy to deal with it. The phones, like social media, YouTube, and all of that is really addicting. And well, it's not so surprising because it's like this big giant tech companies with a lot of people employed that are just actively working on how can they make you addicted to their platform so that you stay there as long as possible. And then on top of that, we have this whole spiritual war going on where the enemy is trying to distract us from what is the most important things. So we are up against like a whole wall of enemies as we are trying to be good homemakers and be patient mothers and joyful wives. And I think we turn to the phone when we feel exhausted and overwhelmed. So what do we do then when we read a text like the Proverbs 31 woman and a Bible verse like this? She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. I know, to me at least, that it feels overwhelming when I read about this picture perfect woman and never like be idle, to always be busy doing the right things, and like, oh, okay, how to do that? But I have come to realize, like more and more, what the only real solution to that is. And it's not to try to hide more. It's not to feel failed because you are not the person that you would wish that you were. And it's not to give up on ever becoming that person and just settle for less. No, it is to set everything else aside as less important than to come to God and seek His peace and His love and fill up from Him. But it's not easy, and I'm in no ways an expert in this. I'm just trying to share my life and be honest with you. And I have to admit, I am struggling with this because half of me is still stressed out for everything that needs to be done, or that I have gone to bed too late in the evening and not succeeded to go up in the morning and have my quality time with God. But the days when I succeed to prioritize quality time with God in the morning, everything else goes so much better. And that is truly what gives energy and positive energy. And you feel so much more at peace and motivated for the different duties during the days. It's like, instead of thinking through like, oh, wool in your head and you can't really focus and everything feels a bit struggle-ish. It's like you're having this smoothly flowing water stream up in your head with beautifully decorated riverside. This is likeness, but it feels a lot easier to handle everything, and it's a big difference, like for me, in how I handle the things during the day when I've set aside time in the morning to be with God. And I experienced that it's actually a big difference to have it in the morning and to have it later in the day, because when you have it later in the day, it's so easy to be already distracted by the different duties that you have, and to not really be as focused, and people around might interrupt in the middle of it and call for your attention. And most of all, it might be that you have already got into some battle of the day that you wish you would have handled differently because you maybe got frustrated. While if you had the devotion in the morning, then you might have handled it different. You could have been patient, and you have put on God's armor, and you have filled yourself with his power, and in a lot better way been able to like face the fiery darts of the enemy and reacted different to situations that happen during the day. So that's at least my experience, that when I have that morning time, it's just such a big difference. And I truly think that the key to be a successful homemaker and to have energy so that you are not as tempted to seek the comfort and distraction from the phone during the day is to come to God. Like in the moments when you are tempted to take the phone and mindlessly scroll, make sure that you have a Bible or some Bible verses that you have written up, or another spiritual book close by, that you, instead of reaching for the phone, you reach for that. Instead of then being distracted and letting the enemy distract you, you're actually filling up with something that will empower you and help you. And even if it's just for a minute, it makes a big difference. To learn to change that habit, like, because you're seeking for some sort of comfort, but the only real comfort that you can get is actually from God. So that is the right source for the comfort. The other is just temporary, it doesn't even work. But when you then go to the source and fill up on that, it can actually empower you and give you a bit of that energy that you need. Here are some other practical tips that you can do to not get so distracted by the phone. You can turn off the notifications, minimize the contact points with the phone. So use as many other things in replacement for the phone as possible, like a watch, an alarm clock, a notebook, and so on. You can put an automatic flight plan mode at a certain time in the evening so it turns off. You can put your phone in another room as much as possible to not have it close to you, to minimize the temptations. Deinstall, for example, the Facebook app or other apps, so you have to go to the web page to log in. And you can move distracting apps away from the home screen so that you don't see them immediately. And last and funniest, put a hairband around your phone. In this way, you can answer calls, but every other time you grab the phone and want to do something, it becomes a reminder and offers like a little reflection time for what your motivation is to use it. And you can then make a more intentional choice whether it has a significant purpose to use it, and then remove the hairband, or if you were about to just mindlessly scroll and then you put the phone back instead. But most of all, I really think it's about coming to God in the morning before everyone else wakes up and seek for his power and wisdom, because we just can't rely on ourselves. We have already tried that, and we have seen how that ends up. We lose it, we feel drained. It just doesn't work. But God, he has unlimited resources of patience and cheerful attitudes through difficulties. So how can we fill up with God's love? As you might have discovered, like, that is the answer to all our issues. It sounds too simple to be true, but it just really is the answer. Pray and read the Bible. It always comes back to that. Like, we don't understand how big of a need that actually is for us. I think that we are missing out on really understanding the power that lays in that, and that's why we are not doing it enough, because we don't understand what a big need we actually have for filling up from God. Like, we understand we need to eat because else we get tired and weary, but we don't understand that the reason why we are tired and we are feeling overwhelmed, that is because we are actually mistreating our bodies. We are mistreating ourselves in not coming to God and filling up from him. We are going to other sources instead that will never be able to fill that. Like, we are constantly like licking on this lollipop as our only source of food, and spiking a little bit, but feeling that, why am I still hungry? Why is it still not working? Why don't I have energy for things? Well, it's not so weird, because you're going to the wrong source. The phone can never help you. Other things can't help you. The only thing that can help you is God and His Word. But we have made it complicated, and we have this inbuilt resistance to coming to God's Word and prayer, and the enemy is just so on trying to distract us from that, because he knows that when we truly seek the power from God, we don't fall for his temptations anymore, and we will become unstoppable, because with God everything is possible, and God will help us to actually become the people that we want to be, the homemakers we want to be. So that is the key. That is the key. I just wish that it was like this. You can snap with your fingers and we just like, we get it, now we do it. It's gonna be a struggle. When you decide to do this, it's gonna be a struggle, so don't give up. But keep coming to God. Just decide, like really, really decide, this is gonna be my highest priority. Everything else, I set it aside as less important. This is gonna be my highest priority, and I'm not gonna give up. Even if I fail 20 days in a row, I'm gonna continue to pursue this and pray to God in the different moments, and take the Bible instead of the phone, and just fill up bit by bit, and that will give you more and more power to fill up with more and more. I hope this was helpful for you, and actually let's end with a prayer that we will succeed to put away the phone, to not have that as a distraction, and succeed to have our morning time with God. Dear God, I want to thank you for each person that is watching this. Thank you for what you have done in their lives so far. Thank you for what you are doing and what you want to do, what you will do. We are looking forward to see where you will take us. And I pray that you will help us to not be distracted with the phone. Please break the addictions, break the bondages that it has over us, and help us to turn to you instead, to seek your power, to seek your love and fill up with that, and that we will get the energy that we need. And God, most of all, help us to have the right priorities, to really put you on number one spot, that we will put aside everything else as less important, and decide in our hearts to prioritize you in a new way, and to see where we can grow in prioritizing you, to have our morning devotion time, that will be priority one in our life, to come to you in the morning. So I pray for this amazing journey that you're setting us on, and pray that we will grow together with you and with each other, that we can support each other. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Take care until we see each other next time. Bye.